Hi guys and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be analyzing Bitcoin, Ethereum and gold. We will see what my trading system has suggest to us, and we will be evaluating if the trading system, if my expert advisor was correct or not. Please subscribe to our channel if you want us to keep releasing technical analysis for free. While if you want to receive on-demand analysis and you want to receive my signal from my expert advisor, then you might want to join our growing community on Patreon. Let's start with Bitcoin against US dollar. In one of my previous videos, I've been clearly stating that we were heading into 35,000 US dollar, which actually is happening right now. Also for the Ethereum, as you can see here, we are right now at 782 US dollar, and actually we are going to hit my clear target at 800 US dollar. So what about the gold? Okay, so for the very first time in my career, I've been showing my trading system is a cyclical trading system. Actually I have 8 parameters, 8 signal for every indicator. I attribute 1 point, so the maximum that we can have is 8 points. So what kind of signal the expert advisor has provided to me over the time? I want to tell you that the expert advisor has given to me 100% of correct signal. I know now you might think, okay, that's simply impossible. Okay, so then if it's simply impossible, let's verify what actually I'm saying. Okay, for example, for Bitcoin and Ethereum, well, I consider long position for when actually my expert advisor gives to me at least 6 points. Okay, 6 points out of 8. Of course, 8 it is always better than 6. While for the actually, for example, for Alibaba, I have a short position. My expert advisor has clearly given to me a short position with a -7 on November 10. So why 100% of correct signal, and why I'm not lying? I will demonstrate to you, and we will be verifying. Okay, so let's start, for example, with the Bitcoin. Okay, so here we have two daily cycle, of course, and then I use the daily cycle and the weekly cycle, and obviously I use my two proprietary indicators, which obviously I cannot show how they have been built. Okay, so my system for Bitcoin went long on October 19 at 12,750 points, which means right now we are already up of 20,000 US dollar. So how did I calculate this and why I have 7 points for Bitcoin? So let's start here. Okay, so here we have a daily chart, and as you can see here we have a very first positive signal, so it's 1 point because the two curves are both oriented upwards. Okay, so we see here is a daily chart. This is the very first cycle, so I've given 1 point, while this one is a neutral, okay, which means actually 0 point, and the reason is because, as we can see here, the two curves are actually 92.03 and 91.68, so I gave 0 to this signal. Now let's switch to the weekly chart. Okay, so I'm trying to let see you that actually I'm not saying anything extremely strange. I'm not saying any lie. Okay, so here we have another 2 points, 1 point for this cycle, and another 2 points, another 1 point for this cycle. So we have 2 points. This is the weekly chart, okay, because first of all the two curves are oriented upwards for the very first cycle, and even the second cycle. So both cycles are telling me that Bitcoin might grow over the time. Okay, so I give again, this is a weekly, so 1 point and another 1 point. Now let's move on and let's analyze my proprietary indicator. Okay, so let's here we have gold, so let's look for Bitcoin against US dollar. Okay, so we have here, even in this case I've applied my system for the daily and for the weekly chart. Here we have the weekly chart. Okay, so we have the two proprietary indicators, what I've called PC4 pesata, and this one is oscillatorio di prezzo pesato segnale filt. As you can see here, for both of them we have a long position. Okay, so 1 point and then another 1 point. So I put again this was the weekly chart, so Bitcoin 1 point. So far we have actually 1 2 3 4 5 points. Okay, now let's move on and let's analyze the daily chart. Okay, so let's see what my two proprietary indicators were suggesting us for for Bitcoin. Even in this case, we have two long positions, so another point and another point. So when actually the chart, when as you can see here, between 12,500 and 13,000 US dollar, you can see that actually my two indicators were long. Okay, so I'm not lying. That's what we can see here. So 19th of October, we have 7 points at 12,750 US dollar. My expert advisor was suggesting to get long. Okay, so some now I don't have the time to actually to look for all the data, but for example, for the SP 500, my trading system went long on November 12 at 3,537 points. For the DAX 30th of November at 13,200 points. For the FTSE MIB, the Italian index, 29th of November at 12,200 points, etc., etc. Cool. And all these actually for all the long position, we are actually up from my signal. Okay, so for example, for Tesla, we had a long with 8 points, which means all the indicators actually were telling me that we were going up, and we had the very last signal on December the 2nd at 565. Right now we are at 710 US dollar, which means we are already up of 150 US dollar. Now let's see, I want to analyze with you gold, because here we have a -2, which means I'm not bullish on gold, because again, as I've been telling you, we need to at least 6 points before actually opening one long. For example, here we have 7 points for Micron Technology. So 16th of November at 59 US dollar, we were long, and of course you can verify right now how Micron Technology is worthy right now. Okay. So let's verify gold. Okay, so let's see where we are. Okay, we have it here. Gold, as you can see here, we have here a neutral. This is a daily chart neutral, because I want the white curve to be crossing above the orange one. Of course, again, I cannot reveal how what kind of parameters I've used in this case. So this one is a neutral signal, while here we have a positive signal, because we see the red curve above the azul one. So again, this is the daily chart. So let's see my expert advisor for gold. We see here a neutral, okay, and here a positive one. Now let's switch to the weekly chart and let's verify actually what kind of signal we can retrieve for the weekly chart. Okay, so in terms of cycle, here we have the red curve which has crossed below the azul one, which is a negative signal. Same for this kind of cycle. So here we have two negative signal. Okay, so here what we have two negative signal. Now let's move on and let's analyze my proprietary indicators. Okay, so let's switch to gold and let's see what we can retrieve for gold. Okay, we have it here. So this one is the daily chart, and as you can see here we have is negative, the last indicator, while this one is positive. This is again daily chart. So what we have done here actually is for the daily chart, positive and negative. Now let's switch to the weekly chart. Let's verify at the end what we should be doing for gold. Okay, so let's switch to the weekly chart. For the weekly chart, we have a negative signal here and a neutral signal over here. Okay, so PC for pesata is negative, while this one is neutral. So let's see what I've written right now here. As you can see here, PC pesata weekly negative, while this one is neutral. So the total is -2, which means we are not going to open any long for gold for the time being, because we want to have at least 6 points. Okay, for those situations, like for example for EasyJet and for Fresenius, we have 5 points, which means if something will be changing over the next weeks, they might turn to have 6 points, and then our system, my expert advisor, will be turning positive and actually will be issuing a positive signal. Okay guys, if you want to receive my trading signal provided by this expert advisor, you might want to join our growing community on Patreon. Thank you guys.